Well, good morning. It is a new day, and I'm out here in the Arizona desert. And today I had kind of a big list of things I wanted to get done. Well, two important things I think need to get done. But looking at the weather, I would kind of like to get out of this area. Like I said, I'm in the desert, so it's supposed to be pretty warm here. Getting warmer and warmer as the week goes on. I don't know if you can tell, I'm struggling with this AeroPress because I reuse the filters, the little AeroPress filters, and after I reuse them for several times, they start to get gunked up. So I think I'm at the limit on this one. I tend to get 3 or 4 days of use out of one filter, but I notice when I get to the 3rd or 4th day, the little filters just starts to get a little bit clogged. So that was white when it was new, and then as it ages, it gets, it just gets little bits of coffee kind of stuck in it. The inventor of the AeroPress uses this trick, except he washes his filters, and I don't wash mine. I just leave them sit. But I think I'm going to use it one more time because it worked, and I'm being ultra cheap these days. But anyway, back to what I was going to say here was it's going to get really warm here this week, and I have a few days left that I can be in this area, but I don't really want to deal with the heat if I don't have to. You see, I'm still going to drink hot coffee because cold coffee is not for me. But I keep getting off subject here. But anyway, I was kind of looking at the map, looking at the weather, thinking, should I stay in the spot another day or two? Or should I just take off? It's not going to be too terribly warm today. I think the high is going to be 87 degrees. So that's not terrible. But I'm kind of going back and forth still. I need to look at the map and decide what I'm going to do. Well, I haven't finished my coffee yet, but I have taken a look at the map and the weather and all, and I think just because I've got stuff to do, I'm just going to hang around here for another day, get my stuff done. There's no sense in running off from a decent spot here just because of a little warm weather, but mostly because I really got to get a couple things done, and tops on the list is I need a haircut. It may not look too bad right now because I just washed it about an hour ago when I got up, but it's long, and it's too long, and it's driving me crazy. So I'm going to do that today and see what other little projects I can get done, and then take off here tomorrow. Well, I wasn't going to make breakfast at first, but one thing about me and warm weather is when it's warm out or hot, I just don't have any appetite. So since it's still cool this morning, I figure I better make something to eat. So this isn't going to be much, but it's my regular oatmeal. Because once it starts to warm up, I may not want to have lunch today. So better make some breakfast. And then I was thinking, I think I forgot to say where I was, and I'm kind of in a valley kind of near Sedona, and the idea was to kind of get up to Sedona, but as of yet, I haven't spent any real time in Sedona. I've been trying to move as slowly as possible just to kind of conserve on gas, although gas is much cheaper here. I got gas in Camp Verde last, and it was, is that the right city? Yeah, Camp Verde, and it was $3.99 a gallon. I haven't seen gas prices that low in years. I felt like I was in a time warp. I really liked the little town of Camp Verde, but it was even hotter in the area that I am right now, so definitely not going to go back there, but I did really like the little town of Camp Verde. Very cool little place, except not the weather cool, but someplace to keep in mind to go back to at some point. Now, this is that time of year I should start making refrigerator oatmeal, just so I don't have to heat up my cereal, except the only thing is I really don't like eating cold oatmeal or cold anything. I will do the refrigerator oatmeal sometimes. It does help to kind of keep down your gas use, your propane use, just because it's basically ready to eat. But because I don't really want to eat it cold, I'll just warm it up really quickly on the stove. So it's probably something I should start doing now. It's getting to be summertime. And for my oatmeal here today, I'm just doing dried cherries and some cinnamon. I made myself a healthy amount because I probably am not going to want to eat lunch. So we'll see if this keeps me from getting too famished until dinner time tonight. Okay, breakfast is done, and it is time to now try to cut my own hair. And I have been putting this off for too long. I intended to try to keep it trimmed and stay on top of it, but because I've only done it once before, I'm still a little bit nervous about it. Now, you can see that it's pretty long here. It's actually even longer than it looks here, but now that it's dry, it's kind of fluffing up a little bit, and yeah, it's not the easiest thing to do because it's curly. Everybody kept telling me, oh, cut your own hair. It's so easy. It's so easy. It's not easy. Because it's curly, I can't just run my trimmers through in one direction. I have to kind of go over it in several different directions. Because with the curly hair, you know, sometimes you're hitting it in the right angle going one way, and sometimes you need to get another way to get it cut, and so it's not the easiest thing to do. Also, it takes a considerable amount of time. So, I've been putting this off for much, much too long, and now that the hair is longer, there's more of it, it means it's going to be a little harder of a job. But anyway, I got to get to it. Last time I put up my shower tent, I'm going to do the same thing this time, and I'm going to explain why after. But let me get the shower tent set up. Let me get this cut. And then I'll explain about the shower tent thing. Okay, I've got the tent set up, so I thought I'd show you just the little setup that I use for cutting my hair. This is kind of the same setup I use if I'm going to shower outside and I have neighbors, which I do in this area. If there are no neighbors, you know, hey, I'll do something different, but I've got neighbors here, so got to be respectful. So I've got the shower tent set up between my two back doors at the back of my van here, and I have also put in the floor that came with the shower tent. So just a basically a little tarp, and I like that, especially if I'm in an area like this that has really red sand, because it's really messy standing in all of that, especially because I'm probably gonna wash my hair after I'm done, so it's gonna get wet down here, so I don't want to be standing on mud. So I utilized that little piece that came with the shower tent. And then I guess I didn't show this last time, but because a lot of people told me I should have two mirrors set up. I do have two mirrors. One of them is this mirror here, which I hang just here kind of precariously. And I don't know how well this is going to work because it's a little windy out today, but we'll see about that. And then opposite of that, I have my regular mirror here that I use every day, and this has a magnet on the bottom of it, and basically I just take the stand off of these mirrors and replace it with a magnet. You can get these magnets at Home Depot, and that makes it quite a bit more useful for me because I can just put it anywhere that I've got metal. So it works really well here, and then if I keep it kind of opposite of the other mirror, then I can kind of get a better view of the back of my head when I'm trying to get that trimmed. Now I'm going to admit here that I am not terribly confident about cutting my hair. It turned out okay the last time, but since I've only done it once before, I'm no seasoned, professional at doing this. In an effort just to stall just a little bit longer, I thought I'd just talk about my equipment here. So I do have a set of hair clippers made by Wall, and I bought these specifically to trim my beard because my beard's pretty coarse, and I found that having the extra horsepower of these was really helpful for that. And of course I had it in the back of my mind that I wanted to start cutting my hair myself at some point, even though I do seem to put that off and I'm not very confident about it. But the thing about these is they do run off of AC power, and I did get some questions about this on the last video I did. I don't have a way of using AC power on my van's electrical system. My van's electrical system is all DC power or battery power, and I guess a lot of people find that confusing, and I don't know a way to really describe it any better than just what I have. But if you don't understand that, which apparently there's quite a number of people that don't, so if you don't understand that, just understand that there are two different types of power. And this type of power, this wall plug that you use at home for everything, doesn't work in my van. Now that's not a problem necessarily, because I've got a couple of these portable power supplies made by Rockpals, and this is the smaller of the two. This is a 300 watt power supply, and it does have a way for me to plug in a household item as long as it is no more than 300 watts. And that was a big question the last time I talked about these clippers, and I guess I should have talked about that. These clippers use 12 watts of power, and I know that because these are UL listed clippers, and on the back of them they show how much power they draw when they're running. So I know that 12 watts is less than 300 watts, so I will have no problem running these clippers on this tiny little power supply. Hopefully that makes sense. I think that's all there is for Mr. Wizard time. I guess I have to now get to the trimming. Let's see how this goes. I already told you I'm not terribly confident, but it's got to be done. Okay, that took a lot longer than I was thinking it would. I was hoping it would take like an hour like it did the last time. That was like 2 hours, although I did stop for a little bit because my clippers were feeling really hot, and I thought I don't want to overheat them and burn them out, so I took a little break and then went back to it. But I think it's not as good of a job as I did the first time. Not that I'm unhappy with the cut I did here, but got it a little short. I took a couple of divots out of spots, so I went a little shorter trying to even it out. And I don't like it quite so short because then all my cowlicks just stick up. But, you know, hey, it's an improvement. It's better than it being long, and it grows pretty quickly, especially when it's warm, so I won't have to endure the short hair for too long. Anyway, it's a learning process, right? I'm sure I'll be better the next time. Now, I did want to make a little point about using the shower tent. I've had a lot of people tell me that they just clip their hair and they just let the clippings fly. And I had quite a bit of hair that I dropped on the ground there. It was kind of a poodle's worth, and I am at the moment on public land. And I really kind of think that whenever we're on public land, especially, we need to follow a leave no trace policy. It's what we're supposed to do, and I think it's just a good policy to follow. So I'm not saying anybody's doing anything wrong by cutting their hair and leaving the clippings. I think it's just a better idea just to pick up everything that we have. If I'd have walked up and found a big pile of hair like that, I would have not been too happy to see that, just the same as I'm not happy to see, bottles or bottle caps or aluminum cans or something, or any other type of trash. To me, it is trash that somebody's left, and I wouldn't like to see that. So for me, utilize the shower tent, keep all the hair in one spot so that I can just sweep it up, throw it out, dispose of it properly. And I'm not saying that everybody should do that. I'm just saying that if you haven't thought about that, maybe it's something you should think about. Well, I didn't think I was going to want to eat lunch at all today, but I'm feeling a little bit hungry, so I'm going to make just a couple of quick, easy quesadillas. Kind of my go-to for just a snack or a light lunch. Okay. Why am I doing this? There we go. I have a magnet here just to hold up this fish spatula to make it easy to pull things out of the pan when I'm using it, but even though it's right in my field of view, I always forget to use it. Anyway, these are some tortillas that I made last night. They turned out especially good. I think because I used some rendered bacon fat. Whenever I cook some bacon, I just keep it in a jar. The rendered fat I just keep in a jar for other uses, and once in a while I make tortillas out of them. Not real often, but once in a while. And it makes especially good tortillas. Okay, break time is over. I've got to take down the shower tent, put that away, and get to my most loathsome job. The wind is picking up a little bit out here, so wrestling with that shower tent's a little bit like wrestling with a kite. Anyway, I've got to change the bedding here, and this is not my favorite job, and I always put it off for as long as I can, but it's time to get new sheets on. Well, I think I need to make a slight revision when it comes to what I consider to be my most loathsome chore. I think used to be putting new sheets on the bed. I would say now it's probably cutting my hair, because cutting my hair was definitely much harder than putting new sheets on the bed. And it does look a whole lot better, I think, the sheets versus my haircut. But, you know, these are just little things. Anyway, I would kind of like to take a nap, but would you ridicule me if I actually admitted to that? Well, I guess I just did, so ridicule away. Well, the nice thing about this wind is that it sure is keeping the temperature down. As two birds fight out in front of my van. Yeah, it was supposed to be a high of 88 today, but sure doesn't feel like it. And I think it's down to the wind. Well, the sun is starting to go down and the temperature is dropping a little bit. It's feeling nice and cool out. So it's probably a good time to get dinner started. And I was going to do something fun and new, but I think I'm just going to fall back on what I've been making a ton of here lately, which is just chili. Been doing a lot of chili, usually with some grass-fed beef. But tonight's just going to be a veggie chili, which is fine by me. all this land out here is actually cattle grazing land, and I'm guessing they're all grass-fed cattle, and they're just free roaming here. There are some cattle gates to get into this area, and then of course the cattle just are walking all over the place. They don't even seem to mind the cactus out there. They're just interested in grazing on the grass that you see out here. I think it's kind of funny because when I buy beef, I normally buy grass-fed beef, and I can see them out there walking around. In fact, they did come up around the van last night really close. But I'm not going to go and grab one. Not sure that's allowed. But no beef chili for me tonight. I'm just going to do a veggie chili, and I do this really simply. I have been kind of living off of frozen vegetables now that I have a freezer, and this has been really great because I can stock up on these, just fill my freezer up, and I've got a lot of vegetables that I don't have to worry about going bad. They're just there when I need them. So that'll be the base for our chili, and I'm saying our. It's going to be the base for my chili. I'm the only one eating this. And then I kind of switch up the beans now and then, just whatever beans I find on sale. So I think tonight will be pinto beans, and the thing I like the most are these fire roasted tomatoes, and these I think really just make a chili incredible. I need to find a better source of a chili base because I've been using this guajillo salsa from Trader Joe's, and I am nowhere near a Trader Joe's anymore, and Trader Joe's are kind of out of the question for a while, looks like. So I should probably go back to making a real chili base instead of doing this little cheat chili base. But I like the flavor of this so much, and because I've been around Trader Joe's so often in the past year, that I haven't needed to think about a different chili base. But I guess it's now time to find a new chili base, because I think this might be my last jar of guajillo salsa. I don't know why I didn't buy a bunch of these. Well, I think I did. I just have been making so much chili that I've been using a lot of them. So I've found that the only way I really like onions are if they're really nicely caramelized. So I've been letting these onions go for a little while now. I think I've finally gotten them to where I will like them. They're good and dark, and they should be nice and sweet and tasty. So since I don't have any fresh garlic, I'm going to go in with some granulated garlic, plenty of that. And even though I've got the guajillo salsa as a chili base, I think I'm going to spice this one up a little bit and use some chipotle powder. Not a whole lot of that. I don't want it to blow my head off, but I would like it to be a little spicy. So get this on the heat a little bit. Open those spices up a little. And I'll go in with a good healthy amount of this salsa. I think that should be enough. And then get that on the heat a little bit. Again, little heats on that chili will kind of open it up and make it a lot tastier. Whoa, I can smell that chipotle. This should be nice and spicy. So I'll go in here with the can of tomato. And then I drained off the pinto beans. I don't really want that water. And then I think I'm going to go in with a healthy amount of these frozen vegetables. Not going to use quite the whole bag, but get quite a bit of vegetables in there. And then I'll just let this sit and come together a little bit, and then I can eat. And I'm hungry. Haven't had a whole lot to eat today, so I'll probably be eating most of this for dinner tonight. So while I'm waiting for the chili to kind of blend together, for dinner time. I'll show you a little thing I've been working on. Yesterday I got a little project done, something I've been wanting to do for quite a while. It involves these switches here. So let me turn the switch on. Now let's go outside and I'll show you what that switch does. Oh, maybe I waited a bit too long. Now it's so dark I can't get the exposure correctly done, but I put in some little just outside lights and I attached them here to my rails and ran them through and to that switch I was showing you. And I've been wanting to do that just as kind of a porch light kind of thing, or I think in the RV world they call them scare lights. So it's a little hard to see right now just how effective they are, but they do work pretty well. They're actually really bright, and so they do shine quite a bit out away from the van, which is what I was hoping for. So this was a project I've been wanting to do for a while, but I've been putting it off because I thought I was going to have to buy something. And I realized that I had some lights, extra lights, and these lights that I installed are some extra of my interior lights. And these are truck bed lights that are designed to be used outside in the bed of a truck. And so they should be okay for weather and all. It was kind of the idea when I bought this switch panel, was I bought the switch panel with extra switches in it with the idea that I could add some extra lighting, and I thought at least one or two of these switches I would use for outside lighting. So I'm glad I finally just went ahead and did it. It was a pretty easy project, and like I said, I had all the stuff on hand. Yeah, I'm really happy with the result. All right, my dinner is ready, and oh, I better turn these off. I'll annoy the neighbors if I leave those running. They're pretty bright. Okay, so back to dinner. My dinner is ready. A nice little healthy portion. I topped it with some cheddar cheese and some nutritional yeast just to kind of round out the nutrition of it a little bit. And give this a little taste here. I'm glad I added the extra chipotle powder. Gives a little extra spice and punch there. So I'm going to enjoy my dinner, and hey, thanks for tuning in and hanging out with me today. Strange little day of getting stuff done. Hope you didn't mind hanging around for that, and if you did, I just would like to say thanks for watching. I really appreciate it.